Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video we have a story titled, I Think I Screwed Up, or The Cake. Before we get into the video, just wanted to remind you of the Patreon channel. The link is in the description. If you want to check it out, head down there. I get to read basically explicit stories over there, and more stories in general. If you're interested in that, check it out. And with that being said, we'll get straight into the video. I, 32 male, have been married to my wife, 30 female, for 5 years. And it feels like in the last year, she's become a complete stranger. We were both established when we met, and at first it felt like we shared the same values. I went to a trade school and learned a very technical job. I worked sugar honey iced tea, entry-level jobs, before I proved myself and built a reputation in coding, to the point where my references trumped my education. My wife has a graduate degree and works in a management position. This created a bit of what I thought was friendly tension at the time. Early on, I complained about middle management. I saw them as roadblocks between me and finishing tasks. My wife saw middle management as necessary for directing personnel and resources. Personally, I was stuck with a bad string of middle managers that thought code developers were modular and replaceable. They set unreasonable deadlines, promised features to clients, and created scope creep? I don't know what that means, but obviously it's not good. Every time I told her about the next boneheaded thing my manager instituted, she always took his side. No, she never met him. He sees things that you don't, she says. After about a year of dating, I learned to stop telling her about my day at work if it didn't involve days off or raises. Oh, that's already like a thing. I feel like you should be able to talk about your work no matter what, because that's like, especially your half of your life after you get a job and it's full-time, even part-time, that's half of your week, is more than half of your week. You're spending at least 5 days there a week and it's all day. You should have someone that you can come home to and talk about it, even if she doesn't see the same. She should just say, oh, that's not good for you. You know, like, that's a bit weird. I don't know. I would not be happy if I was in his position about that. I always felt like she resented the fact I didn't go back to school for a 4-year of graduate degree. She pushed about it early on before marriage, but when I broke down the loans and debts, she dropped it. She was relatively debt-free when we were married, as was I. As I said, we were pretty close in earning power as well. And if he doesn't want to, he shouldn't have to. Like, he's obviously making enough, like, he's doing good for himself. That's the main thing, right? About 2 years ago, I started working for a company that had an owner that talked to me directly. He saw value in me and my potential. That's good. I now make 50% more than my wife, and my manager is a guy that works well with me. While not a technical lead, he embodies what a scrum master should be. I don't know what that means. I would say he knows how to stay out of my way, but that makes it sound adversarial. He is a great supervisor. So that's good though. That should be a really good thing. She should be happy. If it comes up that she's not happy, I'm going to be... For the first 4 years of marriage went great overall. I didn't complain about managers from work, and she didn't push me to dump thousands into a piece of paper and debt. We had fun, went on a date night several times a month, shared hobbies, cooked together, read books together, and watched movies together. Okay, that's good. When the first lockdown hit, we both worked from home. Our house is really nice, with 3 spare bedrooms for if we ever eventually had kids. One was already converted into an office for me, and when lockdown started, we converted the second into an office for her. We both telecommuted, but we both had very different philosophies about it. I would get up, make breakfast, shower, shave, dress in a suit, then walk to my home office. I hate suit and ties, by the way, but it does put me in the mental state of, okay, this is work for me. My wife, however, rolls out of bed, eats breakfast, brushes her teeth, puts on a t-shirt and sweatpants, and goes into her office with an iPad to play Candy Crush between emails. I guess I see as work from home, as she sees it work from home. I digress. It's the weirdest thing how proximity can create distance. She has several meetings a day, and I can tell because she kept her door wide open and I can hear them. I have 1 meeting a day, a scrum, and it's short. I close my door for mine. 5 months ago, she said she felt insulted that I closed my door for the daily scrum. I explained that it's for peace and to keep my mind focused on work. I don't know why she would be offended about that. It's work. Like, She said she felt like I was hiding something. I tried to keep up our hobbies together, but she brushed it off as, we see each other all day as is. I should have pressed, but I didn't. I treated the lockdown as temporary, and maybe I shouldn't have. Okay, now, I feel like, I don't know what I feel like. I feel like she shouldn't be so on him about that stuff, because, like, I don't know, I think it's a bit weird that he must be hiding something if he's closing a door while he's working. It got really bad when her company instituted a partial office reopening. She jumped at the chance to be the part of the 50% of the company back in a rearranged office to allow social distancing. I don't blame her. I miss working at the office too, but my company hasn't opened up the office yet. And as long as I have access to my dev environment, it really isn't needed. I think several of her other co-workers got into her head. She would stay after work to hang out with them, have drinks at a co-worker's place. I pressed and wanted to know more, but she was very secretive and guarded. She became colder and colder too. I feel like COVID really, really tested a lot of people and stuff. Like, why is she doing it? Why is she also being secretive? Was she not complaining to him about him being secretive when he was working and now she's doing it? The hypocrisy. It felt like I had a roommate and not a wife at that point. Last month, on a weekend, she put her old iPad on her desk and said, I want to give this to my niece. I shrugged. I often do that sort of thing for her family and didn't think much about it. Off she went to another company gathering and I switched on the iPad. Maybe my wife was becoming so brazen, maybe she thought I wouldn't check it and just do a factory reset. Point is, I checked it and saw her messaging apps. Pics, videos, IMs with her boss. They've been having an affair for 2 months. I can't describe the feeling in my veins. It was like my blood turned to ice. It reminded me of the scene in Equilibrium where the polygraph flatlined. I don't know what that meant. I don't get the reference, but if you do, shout out to you. I copied everything, packaged it in cloud storage, and I used for devs projects separate from work and started looking for a lawyer. Good man. I didn't confront at first because I wasn't sure what I would do. The new sensation in my body felt like I was both numb and walking through water. She didn't notice or didn't care. By that point, we were already dead bedroom. We were really in the roommate stage, I guess. She doesn't care that... I'm so happy he's also straight to a lawyer because she obviously doesn't care. She basically gave you the evidence for like with no fight by giving you the iPad. Like, I don't... Come on. I contacted a lawyer and he wanted to keep investigating and me to keep my mouth shut. He suggested I get a private investigator and suggested a good one. For the last 4 weeks, we were gathering evidence and he was preparing the filing for divorce. Be patient, he kept telling me, and my ice-filled veins and her indifference made it easy at first. Yesterday, my lawyer told me he had the filing almost ready. Our state is at fault, and the PI got photos, videos, plus the text. It was pretty much a slam dunk. Good. Then, last night, I don't know what happened to me, but the ice turned to fire. She came home, late of course, and I don't even remember what she said to me, but I went off. I said I hoped it was worth effing her boss. She turned mean, nasty, and vindictive. In what world do you think you have the... In what world? She said I wasn't there for her emotionally. Oh, that is the most stupid excuse. Leave him if he's not giving you the emotional attention you need. Get it? Like, why put him... Just because you don't feel like you're getting your needs met doesn't mean you can go cheat. Like, that's no excuse. Leave him if that's the case. Like, what do you mean? I hate that excuse. I was just lounging all day at home, even if I was earning the lion's share at home. I wasn't intellectually stimulating, even though I work a highly technical job. I told her that I had a lawyer and she laughed. Laughed? She said my bluff was pathetic. There was no way I was leaving her, that even if I divorced her, she would get half my paycheck. If I stayed with her, at least I would get to occasionally have intercourse. So I shouldn't mess this up. She was a different person. What? Bruh, I'm so happy the lawyer knew. The lawyer knew, like, hey. Also, the fact that she's saying that is disgusting. And the fact that she's like, you weren't there for me emotionally, and is now like naming all these things that he wasn't for her. How are you not going to even bring this up in a conversation before you go cheat? Like, come on, you can't even use that excuse if you're not even trying to help your own relationship and saying, this is why. But you, like, I hate it. Anyways, let's keep going. I said to her, that's not a marriage. She laughed again. Honey, this is the 21st century. A woman can have her cake and eat it too. She laughed again and she went to bed. You what? I emailed my boss and said I needed a week off to handle a family issue. He, of course, granted it. I slept on the couch in my office. This morning, she left as I was getting dressed and only said, don't wait up. I went to my lawyer's office and he said he had the papers ready. He had a process server with him and asked how I wanted the papers served. I told him. My lawyer, bless him, laughed and said, you better not. I've had so many people want to do a cutesy or revenge serving, and I always talk them out of it. Judges don't have a sense of humour. He told me this could cost me alimony or assets. I didn't care. Her words burned me. I wanted her burned back. The lawyer did his best to keep telling me not to, but he relented when he saw how serious I was about this. I don't understand how, like, serving her at work should be a reason why all of it, like, come on, it's not even revenge. It's just like, well, that's where she is. That's where she's having the affair. Like, I gotta give it to her somehow. The process server, he heard my idea. He laughed as well and said, you're my hero. I had to special order something with a rush cost. She sent the process server to pick it up and deliver that with the papers to my wife's work. I want to know. I can't wait. Process server told me what happened when he was done. He said he had to. He said he showed up at her office with a large box and papers. He found my wife talking and laughing with a group of co-workers and friends and asked her name. She confirmed and asked what it was about. He put the box on a nearby desk and opened it. It was a cake. One that you could get a custom image printed on in frosting. I didn't know that was a thing until this morning. Oh. The image was an image of our wife and her boss in an embrace, clothed but obvious that they were doing with words, here's your cake, eat it, piped in icing above the image. Process server put the papers next to the cake on the table. You've been served. He said what happened next was a loud screech from her. At least 8 different people in the office saw the cake. My wife freaked and swatted the large cake off the table, where it fell on the carpet, but the image was still visible. Several of her co-workers started berating her and she started crying and screaming. The process server took a hasty retreat. My phone blew up and I just kept sending her to voicemail. I didn't bother reading the text. She hasn't come home, but her mother texted me saying she's going to stay over there for now. The euphoric rush of the cake felt great, but as hours passed, I'm considering my lawyer's words now. Did I F up? Like, you might have messed up in the sense that maybe you won't get all your assets, you know? But do I think it was beautiful after the way she talked to you and acted and treated you once you found out like you were nothing and you were just like there for the money? Like, she had you for the money. She's like, well, you'll lose anyways. So if you don't want to, stay around and you might have some intercourse every now and then. I'm so happy he did that. I love when they get served. I'm so happy he did that. Like, I know that it might ruin the court trial in the divorce, whatever, but you can always say that you served her in the best way possible. That is easily the best way possible that I've read so far, except for the one where like the guy grabbed all her stuff and moved it to a, like, said we're going somewhere and moved it to a fair partner's place. Like, that was a really good one too. But this one is actually being served the papers, which is even better. Let me know what you thought about this story in the comments. Do you think this is a good way? I think it's like one of the best ways that we've read so far, because sometimes they're not that great. Anyways, that's it for today's video. Don't forget about the Patreon channel. The link is in the description if you want to check it out. Check it out. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and like, and I'll see you in another video, guys. Bye.